Hey everybody, welcome back to Conquest. I've claimed that sorcerers with Vantage are among the most powerful units you can get in this game. They can do really impressive stuff late in the campaign, but there's a big gap between the time when they acquire Vantage and the point where they're one-shotting everything. My goal here is to show how you can bridge that gap. I'm coming straight from Ophelia's paralogue. While I was there, Elise, Odin, and Ophelia all reached level 20, and now they've promoted. Since I have 2 Vantage Sorcerers, I can use each one to demonstrate a different style of play. Both styles are very powerful. This scenario is also a great case study for the power of availability. Consider Leo here. He arrives already promoted with an internal level of just 18. He has pretty solid stats, and he gets a personal tome that's essentially a free forged Fimbulfetter. And yet, he's already outclassed. On the one hand, he's less tanky than Ophelia, which seems wild when you consider that her defense stat is just 12. And if you're looking for high mobility, compare him with Elise. Whereas Leo has the horse spirit and a pair-up partner, Elise has a set of boosters that make her comparable in every stat. And that's as an unpaired unit who can fly. This is a fairly typical outcome. I'll get into the reasons for it in a bit. For now, let's go ahead and start the battle.
Listen. I'm with you.
Ophelia will walk east with Corin and do some Vantage Nos tanking. Odin will go west, hitching a ride with Elise. Elise's move requires Azura's help.
No need to worry.
I don't want to leave Azura here, though. In fact, I want her to end up several spaces to the right. Some shelter tech, courtesy of Xander and Silas, can make that happen.
Together.
Xander hits the kill threshold against these mercenaries with the help of any fighter. That strength boost is more than enough to one-shot the Shining Bow Adventurer, too.
For the glory of Nor!
The deployment limit on this map is pretty low. I've brought Percy and Camilla because I need flyers, and I'm using Kaze and Silas together to finish their support chain. But I could drop one of those people and forego some of these positional tricks in order to bring a useful rally, like defense. Silas and Kaze are in range of 5 units, mostly outlaws. Those don't hit very hard, and Silas can kill the solo outlaws with the Kodachi. With all that setup out of the way, let's turn to our Mage Corps. Ophelia is going to show us how much stronger the Nosferatu tome is with the addition of Vantage.
I believe it.
Having lunged that mercenary, Ophelia is now within reach of 11 enemies. Some of those will body block the others, but most can reach her just fine. This stationary adventurer won't use Enfeeble because he can attack straight up. When you're Nos tanking, you do have to make sure you aren't getting doubled. The Shining Bow Adventurer has 25 speed with the hero's guard stance boost, but Ophelia narrowly prevents the follow-up attack by reaching 21. Leo rides southwest. His job down here is twofold. He can eliminate a few enemies who won't have any other targets, and he may distract a berserker later. Finally, Elise and Odin can execute the craziest move you've ever seen. Count them. Together, they're in range of 17 enemies. That number includes some heavy hitters. There are 3 sorcerers and 3 berserkers, and the unpromoted units pack skills like Malefic Aura and Odd Shaped, so they can hit pretty hard too. And yet, Odin and Elise will cut them all down. Every enemy you see will be dead by the end of this turn, except for one. One of the 2 paired up fighters will be the lone survivor. Obviously, the key to this maneuver is Odin's Vantage skill. Ideally, he would drop to low HP with 1 hit, and then all the enemies would see that he's weak and would try to kill him. But it's not that simple. On any given map, after Vantage activates for the first time, Conquest AI recognizes it and takes it into account. It realizes that any further attacks won't work if the counterattack is lethal, so it prioritizes other targets whenever possible. For most of these enemies, that other target will be Elise. However, this exact positioning mitigates that problem. For one thing, none of the fighters can reach her because Odin's in the way, and the turn order is such that the mages in the northeast will get body blocked so that they too can only attack Odin. The threat that remains is the trio of berserkers. They each hit Elise for 13 damage. 2 of them have bad hit rates, but 1 has certain blow. Because of that, Elise will need to evade some of the attacks coming her way. If she dodges enough of them, then the southern berserker won't see lethal damage when it's his turn to move, and he'll choose to attack Leah. Conveniently, a sorcerer activates Odin's Vantage right away.
I was gonna do that!
While we watch the show, I want to return to the topic of Leo and the factors that weigh against him. As I pointed out before, he's in a position where he has no particular advantages anymore. He's less effective than Odin or Ophelia when it comes to enemy phase combat, and he has less mobility and worse stats than Elise. This kind of thing tends to happen when you really take advantage of early join times in Conquest. In Fire Emblem games more generally, the units you get near the beginning can be deployed for free, and they get extra opportunities to train and grow. On the other hand, the units who join later on compensate for that with guaranteed stats, and they tend to consume fewer resources, especially if they're already promoted. You always have to weigh those things against each other. Often, it turns out that the early units don't surpass the late joiners, especially if their growths aren't high enough to consistently produce a stat lead. Although they do have access to an exclusive pool of experience points, there's only so much of that to go around, and if the early enemies are strong, it's difficult to train any units who have a bad start. This game changes that balance in a few important ways. Firstly, nearly every unit in Birthright or Conquest has adequate bases, so they're all competent when they join. The stance system also lowers the barrier to entry. With attack stance, the few units who do suffer from bad bases can get by with little more than a modestly forged weapon. As a result, you can comfortably deploy and use anyone for a little while. And that leads me to the real difference maker in Fates, the support system. With the advent of friendship and partner seals, you can translate your support ranks into new classes and skills. But you can't build supports until you exist, and those A+ and S ranks are gated behind map progression. Join time makes a huge difference. Suppose one unit can start a fast friendship in Chapter 10, while another begins a normal one in Chapter 13. The former finishes right as the latter starts, providing time in easy maps like Chapter 14 to learn skills and train with new weapons. That second pairing won't reach A+ until well after the difficulty ramps up. Opposite-sex partners stand to gain even more, because they don't just access each other's classes, they also generate new resources through the miracle of reproduction. Child paralogues grant XP, cash, and items, not to mention brand new auto-leveled units. If you unlock these bonus maps quickly, the early units can hog those resources for themselves, and they can also parlay a single extra map into more support points, leading to more S-rank supports, and hence even more paralogues with more resources.
Excellent.
If you really push it, that phenomenon becomes a cascade of riches. But what I've done for this particular scenario is nothing special. I've only done 2 paralogues so far, I didn't do either one as soon as I could have, and I aimed for maximum gold over experience points in Percy's paralogue. Still, those 2 extra battles have helped my best combat units, people like Odin, Elise, and Silas, cruise to a level 20 promotion. As you can see, when those characters get that much training, they are amazing, and they'll tend to stay that way. Now, please don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting that every unpromoted unit has a free path to level 20, nor am I saying that all of them should wait that long to promote. Earlier promotions have advantages in the short and long term. You get the benefit of an immediate performance boost, and you also get faster access to the powerful skills of promoted classes. For example, if you're training an archer, you might want her to enter Chapter 24 as a Kenshi Knight with Bowfair. If you insist on waiting to promote until level 20, and you don't save another paralogue or 2 for late game training, there's a decent chance your archer won't learn Bowfair in time. If that happens, your short-term greed for levels will have cost you the ace flyer you were trying to build in the first place. What I am saying is that availability in this game is a special kind of power. Units who are on your side early can exploit the class-changing system to its fullest. By doing so, they generate a lot of experience points and items and money. You can use those things to break the level curve and make your team much stronger than it would be otherwise. And that finally brings me back to Leo. Leo is a great unit who benefits hugely from the child paralogs, specifically from Ophelia's. He loves having the Horse Spirit and the Calamity Gate and a free copy of Lightning. But paradoxically, the very thing that makes him strongest tends to make his competition even better than he is, and they can't all share those unique scrolls. Nevertheless, Leo is completely free, and if you didn't really train Elise and Odin, he'll step in and do a good job. He has a lot of potential in his own right, it just takes him a bit longer to realize it.
We've got this. Not a chance! You'll be alright. Are you okay?
We're about to wrap things up near the bow. Elise has yet to face the 3 berserkers, but she dodged enough spells to be assured of victory. Even if that attack had landed, Elise would have had 15 HP left. The next berserker to act is the one to the south. He wouldn't do enough damage to kill Elise, and he hits Leo a little harder.
We've got trouble.
Failure is no option. We stand together.
Nicely done! Yay! We'll be fine.
No mercy!
Well, there's a surprise kill. You might wonder why Xander gets so little experience on this map, even though the difference between his level and the heroes is just 3. Every map has a set level, and for this one that level is 17. When that number is below 20, generic promoted enemies are treated as though they promoted at that lower level. So their internal level is the average of 17 and 20, rounded down, which is 18. You add their displayed level of 1 to get 19. Xander's at level 24, so the effective level difference is 5.
That was nothing.
For a standard NOS tank, the situation around Ophelia would be a disaster. This is the Nyx scenario. You deal a lot of damage on turn 1, and then on turn 2, there's no more HP to absorb and you die. But that's not how it works with Vantage. If you and the enemy both have low HP, then you're immune to their attack. And if you eventually creep back over the 50% threshold, you've probably filled your guard gauge, so you're safe from the next attack too. It's not impossible to get killed, but you have a lot of protection. Thus, the Vantage Nosferatu combo makes a glass cannon into a workhorse. Had I given Ophelia a magic boosting meal and tonic, she could have killed the mercenaries and outlaws in one hit. But depending on your approach, that may or may not be helpful. Ophelia is happy to kill 10 or 11 enemies with 2 hits each. That means more experience and more weapon points for the same effort. As mighty as Odin and Elise have been here, neither of them can kill the boss. One of them has to talk, and then can't attack because they'll die to counter. The other can't overcome Shura's resistance in a single round of combat. So while one finishes off the last fighter, the other will just go confirm the nearest soldier as friendly. Odin hasn't leveled up yet, so he does the honors.
I have taught you well. My aching blood!
Aw, yeah!
I can support you. Sir!
I could let Ophelia eat up all these enemies, but I'll go ahead and complete the 2-turn clear. That means Ophelia has one job. She has to get the heart seal from this hero.
I'm here to help.
I've hardly said a word about Kaze and Silas. My main goal for them was just to make sure they got support points here. This map isn't especially friendly to horsemen who aren't Xander, but as you saw, the Kodachi works well when you use attack stance.
You're not alone. Your battle has ended. Remain calm.
I'll take care of this. Right next to you.
If Camilla gets refreshed from here, she can reach the soldier at the stern.
Let's do this. Stand down.
You're so cute.
My maneuvering with Shelter moved Azura close enough to reach Camilla unassisted. Because of that, Percy can go get a kill.
We can do this together.
You're lucky I'm here!
I have faith in you. Don't take all the glory!
Golly, thanks a bunch!
We can do this. Let's see how this goes.
Fascinating. Yes. What?
Unlike Odin and Elise, Xander can eat the damage from counter when he attacks Shura.
I'm too fragile for this. You're okay, right?
Silas rides over and delivers the coup de grace.
Together. Went down fighting.
That's chapter 16 in 2 turns with Vantage Sorcerers. I hope that was instructive. I'll see you next time.